This is kind of crazy. You rarely hear something like this. Walmart is closing. It's a shock for the suburban residents. Today, Walmart announced the closure of 3 stores. Stores are closing all over the region in Lincolnwood, Plainfield, and Homewood. Some of the country's largest retail chains, Walmart, Target, and Home Depot, met with the president this afternoon to discuss tariffs. Walmart says it plans to cut positions in its corporate office and global technology team. Now that's news. Walmart is closing stores. No one in America expected this. It's not just 1 or 2 stores closing, entire branches are disappearing in different cities. Lincolnwood, Plainfield, Homewood, San Diego, they're gone from there. And it's not just about retail, this is a matter of survival. If even Walmart is in trouble, what does that mean for the rest of the economy? And besides Walmart, another 15,000 stores are set to close in the US. And that's only part of what is predicted to make this a record-breaking year. The closure of 15,000 retail stores is expected. Among the companies shutting down their locations are Party City, Big Lots, Walgreens, and Macy's. Despite the White House's assurances that everything is fine and Trump's tariffs have no impact on the economy, the world's largest retailer, a symbol of American convenience and low prices, is doing what once seemed impossible. It is raising prices, laying off employees, and leaving cities where it once served as an anchor. Trump's import tariffs, especially on Chinese goods, sent shockwaves through every store shelf and hit every wallet hard. Bananas, children's products, Barbie dolls are now more expensive, and even Walmart, built on the slogan "low prices every day," admits that it is no longer possible to maintain this standard. Walmart, which became the country's largest retailer by making low prices its top priority, has found itself in an unusual position. It is warning customers about price increases on a wide range of products, from bananas to children's car seats. And before we dive into the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because what is happening with Walmart may be just the beginning. In a recent earnings report, Walmart CEO Doug McMillon made it clear prices on everyday goods will have to go up. Even after a 90-day delay and reducing the tariff to 30%, the cost of importing from China remains too high. Walmart simply cannot cover these costs without passing them on to customers. And this is not a guess, it's a warning. Walmart is not alone in this situation. It has been joined by giants like Ford, Microsoft, and Mattel, which makes Barbie. All of them are also saying they will raise prices. This isn't greed, it's harsh economics. As Walmart's CFO John David Rainey explained, the retail margin is just too low. With tariffs at 30%, the company simply has no room to maneuver. There is only one choice: either raise prices or go out of business. But in Washington, it seems no one is listening. Trump and his officials are now desperately trying to take control of the situation after Walmart warned that it plans to raise prices because of the tariffs. Trump responded on his social network Truth Social, accusing Walmart of fear-mongering and stating that the company should absorb these tariffs. He reminded everyone of their billions in profits and suggested using them to protect consumers. But here's a question that no one in Trump's circle wants to answer. If even Walmart can't absorb these tariffs, then who can? It's important to understand that tariffs are not penalties for China, they are taxes that American companies pay to import goods. These costs move through the entire supply chain, from distributors to stores. And ultimately, they end up on the customer's receipt. That means all the ordinary people who buy food, clothing, school supplies, or baby products. When Trump says that China pays these tariffs, that's at best a manipulation. This money is collected by the American government, but it takes it from American companies, not from China. The irony is that the president, who calls himself a businessman, is demanding that companies like Walmart ignore basic business principles. No serious executive would operate at a loss for the sake of a political slogan. But that's exactly what Trump's position demands. The level of the proposed tariffs is a serious challenge for all retailers and suppliers. And of course, we are concerned that consumers will feel the impact. We will keep prices as low as possible for as long as we can. Walmart became the largest retailer in the US thanks to one strategy: low prices. And that is only possible if you source goods from countries with cheap labor, especially China. Approximately 60% of all Walmart imports actually come from China. Without this channel of affordable goods, the everyday low prices model would simply fall apart. And for millions of families who save every penny, this would be a heavy blow. Just think about it. One of the most recognizable American companies is closely tied to China, while the US government considers it a threat. What will happen if this supply chain is disrupted if new tariffs are imposed, shipments slow down, or Beijing decides to retaliate with its own measures. In fact, there's no need to guess. We are already seeing the effects. Walmart is suffering seriously, and so are the millions of families who depend on it. Walmart isn't just a big company, it's a true giant. It has 10,660 stores worldwide, with 4,600 of them in the US. The company employs more than 2 million people, 1.5 million of whom are in America. It is the largest private employer in the country. Walmart isn't just a store, it's a crucial part of the entire American economy. And almost every American shops there. Every week, Walmart serves 255 million customers worldwide. In the US, 95% of people visit it at least twice a year. On average, that's 67 visits per year per customer. And each time, the checkout total is about $54. These numbers speak for themselves. Americans rely on Walmart in their everyday lives. Now imagine if prices suddenly went up. That's exactly what could happen if the US raises tariffs on Chinese goods again. And these costs will inevitably fall on the customers. Families with middle and low incomes will suffer the most, as they are the ones who rely on Walmart to keep their expenses under control. And that's not all. If Walmart starts to lose ground, it will begin cutting jobs. And considering that it's the largest employer in the country, thousands or even millions of people could be affected. This is the biggest problem. Manufacturing goods in the US is much more expensive than in China. A simple product that costs $10 in China might cost $30 or more to produce in America. Why? Because wages are higher in the US, regulations are stricter, and costs are greater. People like the idea of made in America, but when they see the price tag, they choose the cheaper option. That's the reality. Politicians talk about bringing jobs back to the US, but most people still buy where prices are lower. And Walmart can only keep prices low thanks to supplies from China. The problem is, it might already be too late. Walmart is starting to shrink. Yes, the very same giant that earned $681 billion in the last fiscal year increased online sales by 20% and showed a 4.5% growth in comparable sales is now closing stores all over the country. Officially, this is called network optimization, but in reality, it means closing down unprofitable locations that have stopped generating profit. In California alone, 5 stores will be closed at once. At the same time, the company claims it is not leaving the state. In Westfield, they plan to open a new location, and dozens of other stores will be modernized. It certainly sounds reassuring until you realize that this is simply a change in strategy, not growth. Don't be fooled by talk of development and the future. This isn't expansion, it's a retreat. And companies like Walmart don't retreat without a reason. Something has gone wrong. If even California, one of the most densely populated and wealthiest states, is becoming unprofitable, then what can be said about other regions? After California, the wave of closures spread to 6 other states. Stores are disappearing from cities like Aurora, Milwaukee, Dunwoody, Columbus, and others. And what do you think happens when Walmart leaves? It's not just the closure of a retail outlet, it's the loss of jobs, tax revenue for the local budget, and the usual access to affordable goods. In poor neighborhoods, Walmart is often the only place where you can buy groceries at low prices. Its departure hits entire communities hard. Walmart says that the closures are due to poor performance, but if more and more areas can't even support a regular hypermarket, it means something is broken in the economy. In some places, it's inflation. In others, wages aren't growing. The problem isn't with Walmart's business model. The problem is with America. Yes, the company continues to open stores in developing areas and is modernizing others as part of the Store of the Future program. But these new locations are completely different. There's more self-service, fewer employees, and a focus on online orders. This isn't retail growth, it's automation. A future with fewer cashiers, fewer stores, and less face-to-face interaction. In response to tariffs, Walmart began changing its logistics and suppliers. The company started buying less from China and more from India, Vietnam, and Mexico. From 2018 to 2023, the share of imports from India grew from 2% to 25%, while imports from China dropped from 80% to 60%. According to CNBC, at the height of the trade war in the first quarter of this year, the top 100 importers in the US processed on average only 800 shipments, whereas previously it reached up to 30, 0 per day. Walmart also invested over $6 billion in developing logistics in Mexico. New distribution centers are being built there, utilizing robots and artificial intelligence. This was supposed to make the supply chain more resilient to tariffs. But the main point is something else. It's that Walmart is increasingly seeing the US less as a country where it makes sense to manufacture goods. To cope with rising costs and tariffs, Walmart began to adopt technology more actively. Robots in warehouses, self-checkout registers in stores, smart logistics systems, all of this has become part of the new strategy. Officially, Walmart calls this innovation, but within the company it is seen as an attempt to survive. Critics argue that in doing so, Walmart is abandoning its workforce, the very people who made the company great. However, management is convinced, without automation, they simply won't survive. The flip side is layoffs. Behind the scenes, the situation is complicated. Walmart announced the layoff of 1,500 office employees. And these are not cashiers, but IT specialists, e-commerce, and advertising professionals. Most of them are from the headquarters in Arkansas. These layoffs sparked a wave of criticism. People accused the company of abandoning the very workers on whose shoulders it was built. But management claims there is no other choice. This is not betrayal. It is a way to stay afloat in the new economic realities. So now the main question is, are machines helping companies survive, or are they gradually replacing the very communities these companies were once created for? Walmart even tried to persuade Chinese suppliers to lower their prices, but nothing came of it. Moreover, the Chinese government summoned Walmart's management for negotiations, dissatisfied with their pressure. This only confirms how difficult it is even for giants to do business when politics and international relations come into play. Companies are beginning to realize that they need flexible strategies to cope with political risks. That is why more and more production is being moved to other countries. But such changes require time and money. In the meantime, both businesses and consumers have to deal with the consequences of abrupt political decisions. Tariffs have affected not only Walmart, they have become a problem for the entire retail sector. Stores have faced rising prices, delivery delays, and complete uncertainty. This has slowed down the economy and created fears about the stability of global trade. As a result, countries began to reconsider their trade partnerships and seek new agreements. The world is changing the rules of business. And all of this proves that the policies of a single country can affect everyone. But how can a balance be found in the global economy between protecting one's own interests and maintaining fair trade? What new systems are needed to restore stability? The tariffs of 2025 changed everything, from where goods come from to their prices and even the ways of doing business. The story of Walmart is a vivid example of how quickly the world can change when everything is interconnected. Experts believe that tariffs alone are not enough to restore manufacturing in America. The problem runs much deeper: high costs, a shortage of skilled workers, and demographic challenges. All of this hinders the return of industry. Moreover, discussions about tariffs have become so politicized that companies try not to mention the word at all, so as not to get drawn into controversy. One thing is clear: the Trump administration can no longer ignore the real impact its tariffs are having on the economy and business. But will this lead to a change in course? Unlikely. In the meantime, like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future updates.